Throughout much of the credit card community, transferable points are all the rage. And for good reason. See, American Express, Chase, Capital One, Citibank, Bilt, Wells Fargo. All of these points can be used as flexible currencies where if you have multiple options for redeeming a specific flight, you can transfer to those specific type of miles in order to take advantage of the best option. With transferable points, you can also have access to some programs that are otherwise difficult to get access to in the US. For example, EVA Air. However, maximizing value when you have all of this flexibility can be cumbersome. For those of you who prefer a more straightforward credit card setup that still packs a lot of value, what I'm about to share in this video can prove inspiring. It's a setup that's proudly constructed by a friend of mine. Call him Ricky for purposes of this video. This setup has no ability to earn transferable points, but is undeniably powerful in all other respects. I've seen other videos from my fellow content creators where they deep dived into somebody else's setup, and frankly, I really enjoyed that type of content. If you find yourself feeling the same with this particular video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. We'll start with how this setup earns rewards from spending, which are in cashback form. Not the most exciting it may seem until we consider the size of these cashback multipliers. For all mobile wallet purchases, which in 2025 is an option across all kinds of merchants, we have the US Bank Altitude Reserve Card. Unfortunately, this option is no longer open to new applicants, but stick around to later in the video, we'll get into some not quite as good but still solid alternatives. Back to the Altitude Reserve, $400 annual fee where notably you'll get a $325 annual food and travel credit, priority pass lounge access, global entry, plus 3x points for mobile wallet purchases. These points can be redeemed for travel via real-time rewards at a 50% boost in your points, resulting in an effective 4.5% cashback rate for mobile wallet purchases. To always lock in this impressive multiplier, even without frequent travel plans, Ricky redeems his points for a refundable flight, and then a little while later, he cancels that flight and then receives in the form of a statement credit the full value of said flight. He's prudent enough to only do this every few months, and thankfully has not fallen onto US Bank's naughty list. Okay, but as pervasive as mobile wallet purchases are nowadays, they still aren't always an option. Well, for true non-category spend, he uses the US Bank Smartly card, specifically the grandfathered version from when the card debuted, where with $100,000 in a US Bank investment account, he earns 4% cashback on everything on up to $10,000 of spend every month. Again, on an unfortunate note, the Smartly card has since been nerfed, where now you need to have $100,000 or more in a checking account to qualify for that 4% cashback rate. Not something that I'd recommend to anyone, given the opportunity cost from not investing that $100,000 or even just putting it in a money market account. Anyway, 4.5% cashback on mobile wallet purchases and 4% back on everything else. Incredible cashback multipliers that really don't take a lot of effort to realize. Though, as with most things, a bit more effort can lead to greater rewards, which is the case here when we consider the integration of rotating category cards into this setup. These cards offer elevated multipliers for a few select categories, and the mechanisms by which this is done can vary. The Bank of America Customized Cash allows you to choose a category from a set list and earn 3% back or up to 5.25% if you hold at least $100,000 in assets with Bank of America or its investment division Merrill Lynch. The Citi Custom Cash automatically applies 5% back to your top spending category each month, again within a set list of categories. There's also the Chase Freedom Flex, which has 5% quarterly rotating categories that are determined by Chase. This card is in a bit of a limbo state right now where you can't apply for it directly through Chase's website, but it is still available via referral links. All three cards have no annual fee, have spend limits for those elevated categories, and are part of Ricky's credit card setup. He chooses not to also hold the Citi Strata Premier and the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which would allow him to move the points earned on the Citi Custom Cash and the Chase Freedom Flex respectively in order to transfer to partners, because he prefers the relative simplicity of 5% cash back. Now, remember when I mentioned alternatives to the discontinued Altitude Reserve and nerfed Smartly cards? For one, you have these category-specific cards. Of course, you don't get complete coverage over all kinds of categories with these cards, but with enough of them, you can get decently close. Bank of America also has the unlimited cash card that offers 1.5% back on everything or up to 2.625% with at least $100,000 in assets with Bank of America or Merrill Lynch. Not quite 4% on the Smartly card, but still a solid cashback rate if you want simple coverage across non-category spend. There are still a couple of spend categories that aren't covered by the aforementioned cashback cards, which would be hotel purchases with Hilton and Marriott. For those, Ricky gets 14x Hilton points via the Hilton Aspire card and 6x Marriott points via the Bonvoy Brilliant card. Good stuff, though these still come secondary to the benefits that are offered on these two cards. The US Bank and rotating category cards make up his core setup, while these hotel cards make up his benefit setup. For $550, the Hilton Aspire offers insane value for Hilton stays, including notably $200 in semi-annual Hilton Resort credits, top and Diamond Elite status, and the coveted uncapped free night reward. One can use the free night reward for a night that costs well over $550, but Ricky doesn't necessarily always look for a super expensive room, as he prefers ease of use and knows that the overall value of the Aspire card is consistently enough to justify the annual fee. Crockford's Las Vegas often ends up being a property of interest. Then, in terms of non-Hilton benefits, the Aspire provides $50 in quarterly flight credits, clear membership, and National Car Rental Emerald Club executive status. For those of you who remember the Aspire card before its most recent refresh, you might recall that the airline credit at the time was only for incidentals. Now, the airline credit can be used on flight purchases themselves, but Ricky did not know this until I told him, and thus was still redeeming them for United Travel Bank credits, even though he doesn't fly with United a ton. Safe to say, he knows better now. Anyway, the Bonvoy Brilliant has a similar value proposition on the Marriott side, where for $650, the best Marriott benefits include Platinum Elite status, 25 Elite Night credits that get you closer to Titanium status, and an $85K free night award, which you can top up with an additional 15K points to attain higher value redemptions. Like the Hilton Aspire, the Bonvoy Brilliant can be justified as a keeper card just with the hotel-specific benefits alone, but there are also non-hotel-specific benefits in the $25 monthly dining credit, the Priority Pass, and Global Entry. Yes, these two premium hotel cards do have a lot of things to manage, which can get quite annoying, especially those statement credits. That said, with just the free nights and the elite statuses proving so powerful, these cards can make for simple yet very valuable components in this benefits setup. There's one more card to get into in this great no transferable point setup, that being the one and done play in the Citi Advantage Executive World Elite MasterCard. Now, don't get me wrong, this card can be a good mainstay in people's wallets if they fly with American Airlines and visit Admiral Club's lounges enough. Ricky, however, doesn't have an Admiral's Club lounge in his home airport and instead sought out this card simply for the welcome offer. He didn't even know about all the statement credits on this card until I told him. When he applied earlier this year, the card had an elevated welcome offer for 100,000 American Airline miles for $10,000 to spend in 3 months. These miles will be used for an upcoming trip for him and his family to Hawaii in first class, I must add. Consistently going for welcome offers is arguably the best way to get value from credit cards, though much less so if you don't have a clear goal for how to use these welcome offers. Thankfully, Ricky did things the right way by nailing down his goal, identifying the best way to attain that goal, and then executing upon it when the elevated welcome offer was in play. Probably not the most outsized cent per point value redemption when using American Airline miles, but if you're saving a lot of money on an organically planned trip, it's outsized value in its own way. And voila, the no transferable points setup that really blew my mind. Again, some of the best cashback cards in the core setup, 2 powerful premium hotel cards in the benefit setup, and 1 airline card as a sweetener just for the welcome offer. What do you guys think about this setup? Let me and Ricky know below in the comments. As mentioned, I'm a big fan, though one gripe that I do have with this particular setup is its lack of diverse airport lounge access. You only get Priority Pass access through the Altitude Reserve and the Bonvoy Brilliant, as well as Admiral Club access through that American Airlines card. Might not be good enough for some people's home airport and travel situation, so if that's the case, you should check out this video on screen and learn about other cards that offer different lounge options. Here's your card nerd signing off, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.